As lawyers, no, kapag merong i-refer na case, usually ang PDRC, iba kagad yung strategy mo kung ikaw ay para sa accused at saka kung ikaw ay sa private complainant. Okay? So, kapag ikaw ay for the accused, ang una mong gustong gawin is to make sure na yung akusado makalabas doon sa jail or detention. No? Especially pag deaf yan, ayaw mo siyang nasa loob ng matagal. Unang-una, yung just being in jail for an ordinary person, very traumatic na. Mas lalo pa sa isang deaf. Babae man o lalaki. So yun kagad yung nagiging priority ng isang abogado dapat. Malabas muna siya doon. At the same time, habang ginagawa mo yun, you already set up to compel the court to make sure that there is an interpreter. Okay? That is the responsibility ng court. Okay? So, in effect, the hearing interpreter or the deaf relay interpreter become extensions of the court, not of the accused, not of the complainant. So, hindi mo sila hawak. Hindi mo sila dapat sa parang objective, no? Kasi you only relay. Kumbaga, yung you speak for the deaf, no? You cannot give your own opinion. Diba? Yun yung ano doon. So, kaya ang nangyayari, syempre, yung mga interpreters relate better to either the lawyer of the deaf or the family of the deaf. You cannot prevent that. No? In fact, ang nangyayari nga, no, in the cases that we're handling now, no, ang nangyayari, humihingi pa nung, tinatanong pa nung interpreter, attorney, paano ko ito gagawin? No, kung tama ba kung itong gagawin ko? So, for purposes of arraignment that I've experienced, and the arraignments that I've experienced are always involved unschooled. One very, very unschooled and mentally incapacitated, and another one barely schooled. Siguro mga 2 years of deaf education. So, yung kanyang extent of signing has also been, for lack of a better term, yung localized or domesticated. Yung, meron silang basic gestures na alam ng mga tao sa bahay, mga
home signs.
Home signs. Thank you. So, but in my experience, we did not have the benefit of a deaf relay interpreter and a hearing interpreter. So, the interpreter that, ang nangyayari kasi is, bago pa siya makapunta dito, we usually file a motion to appoint an interpreter. No? PDRC makes an assessment of the capacity of the accused and they make recommendations. Usually tatlo. Ito si interpreter A, B, C, judge, pagpilian nyo. No? The judge can choose among the three, or in our case in Taal, ang ginawa niya, pumili siya ng iba na wala dun sa list. Kasi feeling niya, mas madali ako ng interpreter kung malapit daw sa bus station na papunta ng Taal, Batangas. So, kaya kumuha siya sa, hindi ko na alam yung acronym, basta the school na sa Pasay.
PSDS, Philippine School for the Deaf.
Philippine School for the Deaf. Kasi yun daw malapit sa bus station sa Pasay. So, makapunta ka ng Star Tollway and then you take a jeep to Lemery and then pinakamabilis. Okay. So, pero ang nangyayari nun, wala kaming deaf relay interpreter or hearing interpreters separately. We only have an interpreter. Okay? And the context of that...
Hearing. Ito sa hearing.
Sorry, yes. Oh, hearing interpreter.
Hearing interpreter.
Okay, hearing interpreter. the context of that is, sumusulat sila sa Supreme Court yung judge, no, na tapos gagawa ng order yung Supreme Court administrator, o sige, kumuha ka ng interpreter. Kasi dapat yung expenses ng interpreter is covered by the Supreme Court. Sila magbabayad yan, no? Of course, that's on paper, but many of the interpreters say na sa tagal-tagal ng parang, sige, volunteer na lang kami. Parang, di ba, na lang, ang gulo masyadong matagal, no? But we always ask them to, you get your certification at the very least because you're entitled to that compensation kahit man transportation. Mas lalo na, for example, our case is in Taal, Batangas. Medyo malayo-layo din, no? Yung biyahe at saka yung pamasahe medyo expensive din. So anyway, but we don't, nabasa man nila yung assessment ng PDRC, they only have, for example, number 15 kami natatawagin. So, from habang tinatawag yung case from 1 to 14, that's the time that the hearing interpreter assesses, kakausapin niya yung accused, i-gauge niya kung anong maintindihan nito. No? So, syempre yung parents, yung nanay sabi niya, ito lang ang alam nito ha, ganito yung. So, bibigyan niya ng orientation and then siya na mismo mag-assess independently. So that's just a matter of at most, an hour to determine. Okay? Okay lang yun kasi for purposes of arraignment, hindi naman ganun katagal. No? Remember, ang arraignment, ang objective doon is guilty or not guilty. And unfortunately, yung Filipino translation nun is, ginawa mo ba o hindi? Yun lang. Diba? Ginawa mo ba o hindi? So, yung hearing interpreter, ang gagawin niya lang is, remember that in the court setting, meron ng hearing interpreter, tapos meron pang court interpreter. Okay? Mas lalo na kung yung hearing interpreter hindi masyado mag-English, so pati yung sasabihin sa kanya, kailangan i-translate pa yun. No? Pero usually naman, they can understand English. But remember, the court interpreter is also very, very important. Kasi any translations that will come, ang isusulat sa record ay yung sinasabi ng court interpreter, hindi ng hearing interpreter o ng lawyer. So, as lawyers of the accused, you have to always listen to what is being said to control the content of what is being said. Kasi, dapat kontrolado mo yung nakasulat kasi for purposes of appeal, you're thinking ahead na dapat maayos yung nakasulat doon. No? Kasi pag inakyat yan, wala nang hearing-hearing. Tapunan na lang yan ng papel. Okay? So, anong ginagawa ng hearing interpreter during arraignment, no? So, yung sa experience namin, hindi niya na sinasabi kung paano. Ang main responsibility niya is kung anong nakasulat doon to elicit a response na ginawa mo ba o hindi. Okay, yun yung gusto mong that's what you want. No? Of course, you want them to plead not guilty. Okay, but what do you also observe? That the hearing interpreter cannot do anymore kasi nga, he or she is busy interpreting. When the accused, the deaf person, no, ina-explain niya pa lang tapos gumagalaw na yung vehemently no. Okay? Hindi yun makikita ng interpreter, no, masasabi niya lang na hindi ginawa. Diba? So, sometimes it's also up to the lawyer to make sure that it's written on the record that the accused is vehemently nodding his head, as was mentioned. No? So that it's always on the record na doon pa lang sa arraignment, no, talagang matindi na yung denial, no, nung akusadong deaf na hindi niya talaga ginawa. Why is that important? Kasi sa isang kaso, ang nagdi-decide nun, hindi naman yung mga tao at saka yung publiko. It's always the judge. You always think of what the judge will perceive. Kapag sumang-ayon yung judge sa paningin mo tungkol sa kaso, absuelto yung kliyente mo. And that's your objective as a lawyer of the accused. So, everything that is said, anything that is interpreted, you should always listen to that as well. So, makakontrol mo yun. No? Para matulungan mo rin yung hearing interpreter. Minsan, mag-interpret yung sasabihin niya, ganito ang sinabi. No? One sentence. Yung court interpreter lang ang pwedeng mag-translate nun kung kailangan i-translate. Minsan, yung, as mentioned by Attorney Cristobal, yung pag-interpret nila medyo mali, dapat mabilis ka rin to correct that. No? To make sure that the accused is portrayed in the most accurate light. No? So, in that context, no, yung tungkol sa voicing, no, ako tingin ko dapat limited yung pag-voice. Kasi sa prosesong ito, the main responsibility of the interpreter is to speak, quote-unquote, for the deaf. He's not supposed to narrate or to contextualize. No? Kasi in the language of the court, question, answer, question, answer. Okay, explanation only when necessary. So, otherwise, if you keep on saying na i-explain pa yung context, pwede yun i-objectan ng kalaban mo. Kasi na-strike out yun, or that's a narration, or that's not responsive to the question. So, I think as lawyers, you have to listen to what is being said and also to look. So, yung mga gestures ng deaf accused, sensitive din dapat kami para mailabas yun sa record ng court. No? Pag umiiling, no? Pag umiiyak, diba? So tutulungan din dapat ng hearing interpreter. So I would think that dapat limited yung vino-voice nila. I think stick to the question as much as possible. Only when the court, the judge asks, how were you able to get that answer? Then, the interpreter, not speaking anymore as an interpreter of the deaf, but as an interpreter himself or herself explains that. You know, many of the judges are very new to the process of interpreters. In fact, all of our motions always attach the circulars of the Supreme Court. And that's the first time that they usually encounter that. Masala sa probinsya, sabihin na meron palang ganon. So, yun, no, limited voicing. But our other example is before the circulars came out. Okay, so ito yung sinasabi kanina yung sa Paraso case. He was also unschooled, we still filed a motion to appoint an interpreter in respect of his constitutional right to be informed of the nature. Pero wala pang proseso nun sa ang Supreme Court, only the Constitution. So nag-appoint sila. Dahil unschooled, totally unschooled and mentally incapacitated yung accused si Marlon, hindi matuloy-tuloy yung arraignment. Kasi hindi niya maintindihan, hindi siya makasagot. No? Given this context now, he probably could understand because his mental age he was around 30 years old, but his mental age was around 8. No? So, I think, siguro ngayon sa concept yung pwede siya sa deference, pero medyo mahirap. But as lawyers for the accused, we wanted to make sure that if he did not understand it fully, then he doesn't have the capacity to be arraigned, and therefore he should be released. Kasi walang arraignment. Ganun. So, binabalance mo din yun. So, yun as lawyer for the accused. Diba? Pero kung ikaw ay lawyer for the complainant, ang gusto mo syempre, yung mga may sala, magtagal as much as they can. You know, they should at the very least be accountable for that. No? Even when you're a lawyer of the complainant and the lawyer of the accused is questioning, trying to confuse, no? Binabantayan mo pa rin yung interpretation ng interpreter at saka ng court interpreter. Kung paano nila sasabihin yun. Kasi yun yung lalabas sa record. Kung mali, you should immediately correct what they're going to say. But judges are usually impressed when the deaf, usually complainant, no? And usually it's a deaf minor girl. When despite na nagugulan sila, very consistent. So, alam nila kung sino, matuturo nila, hindi nila alam yung pangalan. They can describe and give the gesture of what happened. Yun yung, so dun sila very, very credible in that regard. But you should create the environment na confident din yung complainant sa hearing interpreter. So, pag-rate din, mahirap kapag lalaki yung hearing interpreter. I think it's always best na babae. Yung ang suggestion kanina, dapat nga may asawa. And sometimes we don't have that luxury also. So, yun na yung best, babae din. So, and dapat meron din silang rapport. So, you have to give them time to get to know each other's capacity before they testify. Para maayos din yung interpretation. Okay, thank you. To assume that the deaf is going to plead not guilty. Kasi kapag hindi ka nagsalita, ang assumption doon not guilty. If you refuse to enter a plea, not guilty. Yun yung kailangan gawin ng judge under the Constitution. No plea or refusal to plea and he's present or she's present, that means I'm not guilty.
Thanks. So,
to have the arraignment deferred. Huwag ituloy muna yung arraignment. Either kailangan ng siguro mas experience na interpreter or an interpreter that can understand, not necessarily more experience, no? Understand the accused.
Can and should communicate with the lawyer. Kaya lang, may problema yun kasi usually ang role talaga nung alam ng interpreter, kaya siya nandun, is to interpret. But kung may nakikita nga na dapat i-inform yung lawyer na ganito, naiintindihan or pwede ba yun? So may direct line of communication between the hearing interpreter and the lawyer.
The interpreter should not just the lawyer of the accused but also the judge. Sabihin niya na, Your Honor, mukhang hindi ako naiintindihan. So, I cannot interpret. Like what happened yung kay Paraso, kaya hindi natuloy yung arraignment. Sinabi ng interpreter na hindi siya maintindihan kahit anong gawin niya. So, hindi pwedeng matuloy yung arraignment.
I was asked to interpret for a case in Bulacan na unschooled yung deaf and I had a relay interpreter with me. Tapos, at one point, hindi na nahirapan din magkaintindihan yung deaf at yung relay. The case, the question was actually, nagsumbong ka ba sa police? Nung nangyari yung nakita mo, tumakbo ka ba sa police? And the gesture na ginamit for police was ganyan. Yung gesture nila, police. And then, kakatanong, biglang na-realize namin na yung deaf may kapatid na police. At ang tawag niya sa kapatid niya, ganon. So, nung tinanong nung deaf relay, Nagsumbong ka ba sa pulis at pagkakaintindi ng deaf? Nagsumbong ka ba sa kapatid mo? To which the deaf said yes. Kasi nagsumbong, well, in her own way, nagsumbong siya sa kapatid niya. So what we had to do was, and this was, I don't know, the interpreter daw can address everybody. I addressed the judge, and I asked the judge, there's a problem here. May I ask a uniformed police officer to stand up? And may I ask the brother to stand up? And then I said, oh, ikaw, so nag-gesture ulit yung deaf. Kanino ka nagsumbong? Sa ganyan ang itsura, the uniformed police, or sa kuya mo? Tapos sabi niya, dito sa kuya ko. So, yung mga ganong klaseng nangyayari. Pero I agree with what Rainier said na, and also with what attorney said, no? Yung, if we are to voice the relay interpreting to a minimum, kasi hindi namin kayang gawin yun accurately at ng simultaneous. But it is helpful, I think also in a way, at least for my experience, it dispelled a little bit of doubt in explaining na, ay sir, yung tinanong sa akin kanina ng abogado, inuulit lang po niya kasi mas magkakaintindihan sila, gano'n. Parang mas, hindi pa kaya. No.
Okay, I would just like to go back to Eman's question. Because he thought that when I asked the deaf, can I sign guilty or not guilty? As I saw him, he was already shaking his head. No, at first the deaf was not shaking his head.
No reaction.
No reaction, but he just what do you call this? He just like made a facial gesture that he could not understand me. He could not understand the sign guilty, not guilty. He just looked at me like that. No head movement, okay? No head movement. That's why I realized he did not understand the sign